how to define the metaverse.
The ultimate marketing channel.
This online 3D virtual environment.
The next internet.
It brings the digital into the real world, and this is gamified social networks.
You can be whatever you want, whoever you want.
The metaverse is the future.
For many people, the phrase virtual reality brings to mind bulky glasses.
The concept of the metaverse, these immersive platforms, has been around for decades. Science fiction coined this term decades ago. But it was always something that was technologically not feasible. It's something that eventually we thought we'd build to.
Technology is finally allowing the creation of metaverses. There's bandwidth, there's cloud, there are devices.
The computing power is so much greater today than it was 5-10 years ago between higher grade chips, 5G access. The ability to process rich 3D virtualized experiences is greater than ever.
I think that what changed a lot during the pandemic is that consumers were forced to virtually socialize and realized that they actually quite enjoyed it.
8 hours a day in 2D virtual experiences have opened our minds to what can happen digitally in a way that it didn't before.
None of us really wants to be stuck in a single place in time. And we've all looked for outlets where we literally can go explore, travel, and do something that's highly personal and engaging. And the metaverse offered that window to almost a different world.
There are already hundreds of millions of consumers in virtual worlds buying products. They're buying costumes for their avatars. They're buying real estate for their homes. They're outfitting their virtual homes. This is already happening, and that's a huge opportunity for companies that can plug into a metaverse, bring their brands in front of a very relevant audience, and improve the virtual world itself.
So CoreSide's estimate for the opportunity in the metaverse for retail specifically is $50 billion by 2025.
What's most exciting for brands in the metaverse is that we're going to exponentially increase the number of potential consumers. Because unlike the real world where you only have one self, in the metaverse, you can have multiple different avatars.
They will be buying enormous amounts of virtual product to enhance their lifestyle in the metaverse. At the same time, they will be shopping for their physical life while they're in that metaverse. So it's going to be a truly omni-channel shopping world as the metaverse emerges.
We're all trying to figure out, how we identify ourselves in the metaverse. And retail is really going to be given a huge opportunity to drive that.
People will bring their identities into virtual worlds. There will be a virtual you, but there will also be an aspirational you. Someone that looks different, that wears different things, that lives in different communities. And that's the beauty of the metaverse.
In the metaverse, I think that people really are comfortable in their own virtual skin, and we get to see that purest expression of themselves and how it reflects back on us as a brand. And really, even from a trend perspective, taking a step back and saying, what's resonating? What has an authentic presence and voice? I think that we can take lessons from that in real life as well.
I think the most important consideration set for understanding how to enter the metaverse is really asking the tough questions about why does it matter to your consumer? What is your purpose in the space? And how do you authentically want to show up?
The metaverse is about immersing a customer in an inspiring educational experience that is impossible to create in a physical store. The biggest mistake we see brands making is just applying a 2D world mentality to a meta-commerce experience.
Because at the end of the day, fun wins. Fun will win in the metaverse, just like fun wins in video games. It doesn't matter which platform you're on, whether it's a gaming platform, a proto-metaverse gaming platform like Roblox or Fortnite or Animal Crossing, or whether it's a blockchain platform like Decentraland or the Sandbox. If it's not fun, people won't stay, and then none of the business opportunities materialize.
We see 3 ingredients that retailers need to get right for early metaverse pilots. First, they need to 3-dimensionalize their merchandise. Second, they should probably partner with a metaverse developer, someone who's been building blockchain products or developing 3D immersive experiences to be able to share that learning and help them pilot. Third, they need to pick a place. an environment where they're going to bring their meta experience to life. You need to look at where your customer is today in the metaverse and be able to lean in that environment for your pilot.
At PacSun, we believe that Roblox is a platform that really nurtures innovation, creativity, self-expression. And so we wanted to approach Roblox with our partnership in a way that the customer and our audience could find the virtual version of what they already physically love in the PacSun brand. We really offer our consumer the opportunity to dress their avatar in virtual clothing, or also experiment with some of the PacSun special pieces that are not offered in our physical space, such as large gold wings, which have been our bestseller on the platform to date. From a long-term view, the real value is seeing the consumers and the audience engage with PacSun and the number of impressions you're creating over the long term by having the community engage in gaming wearing your product.
We're seeing lots of companies like Nike and Vans and Levi Strauss and others invest in various platforms and sell virtual items that are branded. And that's a super promising opportunity. We also see opportunities in the future for them to sell physical goods via these digital storefronts. You know, Nike has built out a Nike Town inside of Roblox. And if, you know, there's only so many Nike Town stores and these large experience stores around the world. But if you're in a place where you can't physically access that, having it in the metaverse gets you in the store without physically being there.
Shout out to Forever 21. I think they've really taken an innovative approach to their metaverse pilot.
Shop City is a place where a player can go and create their own personal shop and experience. And what I think is so neat is it's really the ultimate for a brand to be able to just not go one-to-many or even one-to-one, but to enable someone to actually personalize the experience in a way that's absolutely them. And what I love about it is that in the metaverse, you provide the tools, but the creation actually happens at the individual level.
So the question around who in the organization and a retail organization should lead a metaverse strategy, we've actually seen it coming from the CEO. Because I think there is a curiosity layer and it can drive entire strategies. And that is where we're seeing it begin.
At PacSun, the metaverse is viewed as the future, and it's part of our shared vision for the brand. And so every leader within the organization is taking the metaverse on within their function and challenging their teams and challenging themselves in terms of how they can help move the organization forward within the virtual and physical spaces.
You can't actually assign it to a single team or function. It's a shared responsibility between folks in marketing, merchandising, partnerships. And I think at Forever 21, that's when we're working in our zone of genius, when it is that collaboration from different groups. And I think that's also the unique opportunity the metaverse presents to brands.
We are looking at a real moment in time where we are seeing a full industry transformation, and it's incredibly exciting.
The metaverse is a reality today. It's an early stage reality. It's like the Newton or the Palm Pilot and wondering what the iPhone one day will look like.
We do see retailers who are adverse to the metaverse, and mostly we think this comes out of a lack of understanding.
Because people are like, well, I don't really see the metaverse is going to be anything. It's like, well, 10 years ago, would you have thought that kids were going to communicate only through Snapchat, which are disappearing images and texts and emojis? And probably not.
We think the only downside to this space is not taking it seriously. The only risk today in the metaverse is dismissing it and not appreciating the true potential this has to change the way you serve your customers and engage them.
You know, this is just a massive shift in social engagement and how we socially interact with other human beings. The metaverse is truly the next, version of human social interaction. And that's what makes it so exciting.
The bubble is going to burst, but that's a natural stage of development with any new technology, especially transformative technology. And out of that bubble bursting, you'll find the survivors within the metaverse. But without that cycle, without that process, we won't get the next big, great technology companies that will be defined by the metaverse.
I'm actually very excited for about when the hype cycle bursts, when the bubble bursts in the metaverse, because the companies that are in this just for the search engine optimization, for the stock price jump, throwing metaverse out there in their transcript as many times as they can, the fakers, as I like to call them, they will move on to the next thing. They will get out. And the real companies that are focused on this thing and building it and in it for the long haul, they're going to stick around and really get to work. And I'm excited for that.
There will be ups and downs in the valuations of companies and assets in the metaverse, but this is not a minor distraction. This is not a bubble only. This is a long-term disruption. This is a new way of engaging as humans, selling as companies, learning together. This is here to stay.